So, welcome to the second Business and Technology Suppers that we organize at Marbles to celebrate our soft launch of our IT executive search service. Do use the chat if you have any questions. We will be looking into them at 5:30 approximately. Let's start by introducing Anni. Anni Iso-Mustajärvi, it's great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invitation and looking forward to the exciting discussion. And I know that you have a couple of interesting questions ahead, so looking forward to it.
Yes, indeed. Your background is super interesting. You've been at Mehilinen and BeeHealthy for a while, but you've been doing much interesting stuff before that as well. What have you been up to?
Yes, so kind of my background, by education, I'm an engineer, but I do have doctors in family, so that of course keeps me well educated. And of course, when the ideas go too wild, I also have kind of good debates with family and relatives. But kind of before joining Mehilinen, I actually ended up doing a small consultancy company in an entrepreneurial mindset, and we were doing a lot of healthcare and also kind of pharmacy sector. And many of the projects had to do a lot with IT transformation and how to kind of implement systems, but also kind of change processes and way of doing. So in that sense, what we are doing now feels quite natural based on that experience.
Very good, very good. And I think a lot of the Finns listening know Mehiläinen quite well, but perhaps lesser people in Finland know BeeHealthy. But talking about kind of like also the international audience, what is Mehiläinen?
Yes. So Mehiläinen is in Finland, of course, like a household name. So we've been there around 112 years by now. So it's a long time and kind of roughly 1.3 billion in revenues. A leading Nordic private healthcare operator. And what we do is that we work across the whole spectrum of healthcare. So all the way from primary healthcare to kind of specialty care, running acute hospitals. And we also do a lot of different kind of business models. So partnerships with the public sector, traditional kind of insurance-based fee-for-service healthcare. So you can imagine almost anything under the umbrella of healthcare, and we are involved with that.
Very good. Where did the idea of BeeHealthy as a name come from?
Okay,
I'm curious.
That's a good question. So of course, if you think about kind of the thing that Mehiläinen, which is a very Finnish word.
Why not go global with Mehiläinen?
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, at first we did that. So a bit over a couple of years ago, when we had our kind of first customer in Greece, they were calling us Mehiläinen, and kind of also in other conversations, they were a bit of struggle with this Mehiläinen, like how to pronounce it and so forth. So that's why we thought that we actually really need to have an international brand. And then we had like a casual coffee discussion and we were brainstorming and we were like, what could it be? It could kind of somehow also tell the purpose of the company. And because Mehiläinen means bumblebee in Finnish, then of course we came up with the BeeHealthy. And yeah, that has stuck so far.
And frankly speaking, I like it, because it's I'm a fan of the wordplay and whatnot, and yeah, have to appreciate it.
Yeah, it works quite well. Yeah.
What's your role in Mehiläinen or BeeHealthy? You know, do you separate between, you know, which one you work for?
So kind of course, we are kind of part of the same company, but BeeHealthy is a venture, really. So what I'm doing is that I'm kind of leading the software business of Mehiläinen. So thinking that the mother company is a healthcare provider, but what BeeHealthy is doing is that we actually offer the digital platform that is kind of built based on the experiences of Mehiläinen. And I have a privilege to discuss with both our international customers. So Mehiläinen has expanded to Sweden, Estonia and Germany, and they are using our platform, but also our kind of amazing external customers in Greece and in other countries. So we have this nice ecosystem of 10 different countries covered already with the platform.
What is the kind of like the core business idea behind the venture BeeHealthy?
So that's a good question, and we need to go a bit kind of back in time to discuss that. But kind of Mehiläinen, actually already kind of 20 years ago, Mehiläinen built the patient record system in-house that we are using currently within Mehiläinen. It was later spun off to Tieto, so they are selling it nowadays. But then we already got the DNA of kind of developing software and so forth. And when the kind of new web technology started to emerge, we also started to kind of think about like online booking, this type of things. And it was already kind of over 10 years ago that we started to learn and develop our digital kind of platform. Yeah. And of course, it included a lot of trials and errors. Yeah. And competition started to emerge. So Finland was one of the forerunners in digital healthcare, and there have been quite a lot of lessons learned along the way. And then all of a sudden we had quite a large digital capability in-house. So we were employing over 50 developers already, so qualifying as a small software house. And then you know, we had some visitors coming over to benchmark that, like, how does that look like? How do you actually kind of combine the digital and healthcare? It's a really conservative field. So you can imagine that even though other industries are well ahead, it is a bit slower, the movement in the healthcare. And that's why the case example of Mehiläinen was really interesting for other companies as well. And there the idea kind of struck that, hey, this is perhaps something really unique that we have come up in here. And is this capability something that we could help other providers worldwide to also make similar digital leap?
Thinking about your own platform that you were using, and then starting to sort of, you know, further develop it to be able to provide it to others. Has there been, you know, big changes, big challenges with making that pivotal move?
Yes, so that has been a really exciting journey. And if you think about the past, a bit over 2 years, 2.5 years, it's a different thing to do an internal product than something that can scale across different customers. And there are a couple of perspectives to that. So one is kind of the fundamentals. So what's the technical architecture? What's the infrastructure setup? But also kind of from the functionality perspective, because what we are doing is customer facing. Yes. So this is something what the patients see as the very first thing.
Yeah, the end customer indeed.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of really important that the look and feel is a good fit for the organization, and also that we are able to support different kind of business models that different countries have. Also, there might be some other regulatory requirements, etc. So combining all of this, what it kind of required, we basically kind of renewed the whole infrastructure setup so that we were kind of going to cloud. So now we are operating in both AWS and in Azure. So it's cloud agnostic, and we actually needed to prove that by going to Azure. So it's easy to say that it's cloud agnostic when you're only operating kind of on top of one cloud. And we are doing the infrastructure as a code as well, so that we can kind of scale and automate things in a smart way. Also, kind of the tech stack is modern. And then of course, from the architecture perspective, when you're doing things in-house, you easily have like a monolith structure in place. So kind of implementing the micro architecture also down the line has been there. And additionally, if we look at the feature set then, you need to have a lot of administration capability. We already had a lot of that within Mehilinen, but we increased that so that not every single thing requires a developer. Also configurability, these type of things. But I'm extremely proud to say that our team has been able to kind of keep the one code base principle. So we are deploying the same code to all of our customers. And we need to think about what makes sense, because in many countries there might not be any existing business models for kind of these kind of products or kind of digitally supported healthcare. So what we need to do is to, of course, provide the benchmark from Mehiläinen, but also kind of debate with our customers that, hey, what's their way of working at the moment? What could bring more value? Maybe there needs to be insurance companies or funders involved, so many stakeholders. So it is simultaneously a business development project. So that might take longer time, but we always aim to deliver something in like relatively short time, in 3 to 6 months at least, and then we keep on evolving. So we never recommend approach that we just, make work for 1.5 years and then we have one big bang, because you learn by doing. And I think that mindset is something that I'm really happy to start seeing more and more in healthcare, that you have the courage to start small and learn and then develop further, because in many countries people are not used to digital services within healthcare.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of, we have come a bit late into the digitalization. So in that sense, I think now we can actually enjoy not having like a bit clunky solutions in place, because we don't need to make the work to replace all of those. So we can actually enjoy the quite rapidly developing technologies. And I think what that means in practice for us, for example, is that the user experience is super smooth. I can tell you that the first video solution that we ventured over 5 years ago, that wasn't pretty. And it was...
But it worked.
I think we ended up scrapping that project in the end because nobody liked it, really. But that was the first idea what we thought that what telehealth should mean. The first idea was video. And then we pivoted a lot, and then we came up with the asynchronous method, and that worked a lot better. But I think one part of the thing was that the kind of, embedded video, there was like, those were really crappy. There is a big buzz in the market about the kind of AI and machine learning. And that's kind of, I think for sure, there are applications like in really special cases, like for example, interpreting like radiology images. We have already like really good cases coming up there, kind of where that kind of applications already start to work. But if we think about the kind of the normal healthcare kind of interaction and engagement, what we want to facilitate, how we want to make healthcare accessible to more people and make the resources we have scale for more and more healthcare needs. Actually, there are kind of quite many steps to take before going into kind of machine learning or such things. Like when we're talking about smarter healthcare, it's kind of the first steps are to make kind of things a lot easier and also to automate kind of many things that are now happening in a very cumbersome manner. Like for example, like what we are doing in our kind of digital clinic is that we have like a decision tree kind of, which is kind of taught by insights what we get from our kind of data analyst, but also from the experiences of our doctor, that we can kind of make a concise interview from the patient in an automated way, but it still feels personal for the patient and relevant. And then the doctor can get started with a like really concise summary of the situation. And it's a game changer because then all of a sudden the doctor spends a lot less time. There is no compromise in patient experience. And all of a sudden we are able to help a lot more people with the same time without compromising any of the quality.
Do you have any sort of a rough idea or clear idea about which came first? You know, was it that you had the internal platform in place and thought that this might be a good business case, or you know, which came first, this chicken or egg dilemma of ours?
Yeah, there is a really clear answer. So it's always business first. So kind of what we always started with is the kind of clear need that we are kind of making the solution for. And I think that's very much inbuilt in our DNA as well. And that's why we have, of course, also had the kind of privilege to work with real customers from the day one, so that we are kind of developing the configurability and the scalability for a real need. And I think that also makes it a lot more inspiring because you are kind of having the product market fit all the time there, and you are kind of challenging yourself with the right things. It's kind of, I think it would be really hard to imagine kind of going to a chamber for 1 year and just kind of doing things and then coming out with something ready, not having the customer involved.
Yeah, true.
We had made it work for us.
Yes.
It kind of really improved the way we do the service delivery. We had excellent NPS of 89. Which
good.
is kind of amazing.
Yes, yeah.
And
good is not a good word for that.
Yeah,
amazing is better.
And 1.3 million registered users in the platform. So kind of when we shared that, and then the other kind of healthcare providers said that, okay, this is actually something that's proven. It's used by healthcare professionals. Patients like it, doctors like it. Then we started the discussions from there, that how could we kind of provide that capability to some kind of other healthcare provider internationally. So that was the kind of birth of the idea, and then we kind of agreed with the kind of Greek customer that, hey, let's start working on this together.
Yeah.
And that was kind of really the start of it.
Yeah. You know, is it, you know, when it comes to a tech startup, you know, how important is the business idea at the end of the day?
Yes. So kind of generally speaking, kind of based on all the experience I've had so far, I would say that find the paying customer, like, and with the emphasis on the word like paying customer. So because that really tells that there is like real value in what you are doing for the kind of party you are doing it with. You might think that, okay, for example, if you are like a startup starting from zero, like, okay, we don't have yet anything, so why should somebody pay for us for doing it? But there needs to be some value in it for the counterparty as well. It might not be that you get like the top dollar from the market, but if they are not paying you, you are not really delivering anything valuable for the customer either. So
the sort of question that I'm very interested in is, you know, where do you aim at with BeeHealthy? Because, you know, what I've understood, there's been some very interesting press lately, and I've understood there's some very good references going around as well about BeeHealthy. You know, where do you aim at, or is it a secret?
It's not a secret, and kind of what we really want to be is the leading digital platform provider for patient engagement. So kind of at least within EMEA region. And I think already in Europe, we are one of the leaders. So kind of this is, but that's what we aim for. And also kind of we want to be the leading ecosystem for the digital innovation, because already we have the leading providers from their respective countries in our customer base. And already at this point we can see that they are already bringing their ideas and things to the table and accelerating the development of the platform. Yeah. And on top of that, all of these have their own medical expertise areas. And for example, they are, you know, with one of our customers, we are developing like orthopedic pathways. And with one of our customers, we are developing kind of cancer treatment pathways. So that kind of, if you think about that, okay, when they share their excellence across the customer network, it actually accelerates the development of everyone. So I'm super inspired about the fact that we can bring all of these players together and accelerate things together. So I'm looking for a steep learning curve together.
That sounds very good.